How you guys doing today? In this video, we're going to talk about how to stretch out your herb. I hope you guys find this video very informative, and you're going to get lots of little bits of tricks and tips that I did over the years of consuming the herb. Hope you have your popcorns out, and I hope you got your munchies out, and if you're smoking on something, let me know in the comments below if you're smoking on something. But we're going to get right into this right now. Alright, a few days later, I just been hella busy with a lot of work, but let's get right into the topic. Before we get into the topic, I stream on Twitch here nowadays. I don't have a schedule for it yet because I've worked a lot and my schedule is kind of very all over the place. But I'll leave the link to it into the description. We actually set shit up on there. We react to a lot of different videos. And if you like watching different videos, you just suggest it in the comments on the Twitch chat on what you want to see. So let's get right into it. On the first step to conserve your weed. The first thing that you want to avoid when it comes to conserving your weed, or like the first tip, I would say do not roll up. Do not roll up any joints. Do not roll up any blunts. That's the most obvious answer, obviously, because it burns while you're smoking and it's kind of like the most wasteful way to smoke. Yeah, it's one of like the most recreational ways and you'll have a lot more fun. I low-key enjoy it myself nowadays as well, now that I have my own apartment. But yeah, just prevent rolling up any joints or blunts, so that way you'll lose it way faster. It lasts for like 10 minutes and yeah, you get a little bit stoned, but like you get way more stoned if you buy a glass piece. I recommend get a glass piece that's like over $65, because then the more better, the bigger the bong is, and with the water percolator and all that stuff, you will not want to roll up. You'll be like, all right, bet I can just get this big rip, especially if the bong fits around your mouth pause, and you'll get that much bigger lung expansion from the bong. So yes, the first tip is to conserve is just do not roll up. Just use a glass piece. If you have to use a pipe, but I hate pipes. I mean, that's not one of my favorite ways to smoke, but if you have a pipe and you're not old enough to get a bong, yeah, just use that. The second tip to stretching out your weed or conserve your weed is to try to use it more moderately. Only smoke once or twice a day, maximum, because if you smoke way more, those different sessions, you'll run out way faster. I realized as if I took like 1 or 2 sessions a day versus trying to stay high all day like a weirdo, I lose the weed faster if I smoke it multiple times a day. If I smoke less, I get way higher. Not like way higher, but you'll feel it more and you'll look forward to the sesh more. As if only on my days off, that's when I'll like kind of smoke a lot throughout the day, and if I can afford to. But on the days I'm really busy, I try to only take 1 or 2 sessions a day. You know what I'm saying? The third tip, it kind of follows up with the first tip, is buy pipes and bongs. Like, the glass pieces help you make your sesh last way longer as well. And it doesn't matter if you have like a gram or 1.5, like taking bong rips and pipe hits is like way more challenging than just if they sit in a joint or a blunt, because it makes you way more higher a little bit and you get way more smoke within your lungs as you inhale from the bong and from the greens as you fill it up with the greens. As long as you don't take too many snappers, you're not wasting that much weed, but you're not wasting as much weed with the bong as if you're wasting it with a joint. Because a joint, you're just like, roasting it. And don't corner your bowls. Don't do that. That's not making it help last longer at all. And you're just making it taste weirder and weirder as if like you're doing it and sharing it and stuff. Just pack tiny little bowls at a time. You don't need to corner it at all. You don't need to try to do anything fancy, because all that stuff won't work. Number 4 is very optional. This is something as if you have a lot of money to do, but I would recommend to buy in bulk. Because when you buy in bulk versus like buying like a dime bag or 1/8 at a time, it would, like, if you buy little at a time, you were spending way more money as if you were to buy in bulk, which is like a half ounce or an ounce. You save a lot more money that way, and the ounce or half ounce will last you a lot longer if you try to really stretch it out. And you can follow the first 3 tips and the rest of the tips to try to stretch it out way longer. Now, there are times where, not a lot of people have that budget to do that. So if you have, let's say, for example, an eighth to stretch out, you have like point 0.5, point 0.5, point 0.5. You have like 7 good sessions, tiny sessions, versus an ounce. Let's do that 7 times like 8/8. It's a lot of like small sessions you can have, and it'll last you at least, if just say you have like 2 sessions a day, it'll last you at least a couple weeks. So this is the good tip right here if you have a good budget and you have a good amount of money to do it. Number 5 tip I would give you is to make edibles. This is very optional if you live by yourself or if you have like a homie's house to kind of do this in. Make edibles with like the first eighth or quarter of your weed, because that way you can use those edibles to kind of enhance your smoke sesh on every other day. But you don't want to do this every single day because it'll make your tolerance for edibles rise up high. But I don't know, making edibles to me is like very fun sometimes. You get that same enjoyment from cooking real food, but you're infusing it and all right, bet I'm gonna get real high right after this. But to stretch it out, including with your weed, let's say you buy an ounce or 2 ounces, definitely for the first quad or half ounce of like your weed, you should make like strong potent brownies or like gummies or cookies, whichever one you really like. So that's the number 5 tip I would highly recommend for when it comes to stretching out your stuff. My 6th one was smoke indoors. It's kind of very weird of a tip, but I wouldn't recommend smoking like inside if you live in your parents' house. I would say smoke more indoors, like in the shed or in your car, or if you live in an apartment building, I guess you can smoke on the staircase. Because when you smoke indoors, Mother Nature doesn't really try to, suck up all the smoke from your weed. If you have no choice but to smoke a joint, if you have no choice but to roll up a blunt, you mostly want to smoke indoors. So that way you want that smoke to linger and last a lot longer. And it would kind of, it's kind of a hot box either way. I don't think you get technically higher from hot boxes, but only if you're have a very low tolerance. And when you have a low tolerance, you'll have a secondhand high along with it as well. My 7th tip would be just don't share it with your friends or homies, because when you share it, it kind of makes your stash go down faster. Unless your homies are tipping in alongside as well, or if they throw in money, of course, then that's, you gotta do what you gotta do. Then that's fair, and you will reward from that. So yeah, that's my. I don't think I would really recommend, mixing the weed. I guess it's fun part of the sesh, but when you mix it up with the weed with your homies' weed, then it's all right, I don't know, it's kind of ruining the main effect that you're trying to get from it. But at the same time, I don't really care too much if it's really cool, friends of mine, and we're, just chilling, trying to have a good time. Wouldn't really care. Number 8 is only if you are 21 and older, is to, I don't recommend doing this every day either. You only want to do this once or twice a week. Get crossfaded on some alcohol, whatever liquor that you like, or beer. I don't recommend doing it every day, of course, because alcohol is not good for your body. And it's very addicting too as well, and you don't want to depend on another substance to get high. So I do this once on Friday nights, Saturday nights, unless I have work, then I can't really drink. But it's kind of really fun to kind of enhance the sesh, because when you let's say you take a shot or 2 of liquor and you're a little bit tipsy and you take a fat bong rip, you feel way higher. For some reason, you feel when you're drunk, you feel way careless. I wouldn't recommend getting drunk, but I mean, if just take like a shot or two, it would make your blood vessels open up more to the THC. And yeah, you take the hit like you can, like you're invincible. And that's kind of how I can basically describe it. But at the same time, right after you take it, you feel way higher. You feel a little bit stoned than usual, and it'll help. It'll make you be like, all right, I don't need to smoke all this right now. You know, I mean, that's kind of the feeling that I get when I get crossfaded. Number 9 would be to buy terpene shots or tinctures. Because when terpene enhanced like mycerin or I forgot the other names, but that's the main terpene chemical that I know off the top of my head that helps with getting higher, that'll help you feel the potency of the weed more. Mycerin comes from like mangoes and stuff. That's where the mango thing came from. But you'll have to eat a lot of mangoes to get that, a lot of that good amount of milligrams of like that terpene. And you don't want to do that. You just want to get a terpene shot from the Happiest Hour. That's what they call www.thehappiesthour.com. You know, I can't leave links to on this video because they might age restrict the video, but I highly recommend it. It really works. I haven't tried it in over a year, but one of these days I'm gonna buy like a pack of them, and I'm deadass gonna do a video comparing it where I'm just gonna, you know, do one day where I'm just seshing without the terpene shot, and then the next day I'll try seshing with it after I take the terpene shot. But it's like it's called Intensify. That's what what I'm gonna try. So it's really good. I highly recommend it. It's worth the bag, and you can use it whenever you really need it. Last but certainly not least, number 10 way to conserve your herb is don't let it roast. Whether you're taking the bong rip, whether you're taking a pipe, you don't want to let it roast at all. You want every single bit of that smoke. You know, I mean, yeah, not all the smoke is THC, but you want to make the most of it. You know, like you don't want to pack the bowl all the way up and say, "Oh, I'm gonna smoke all this in one breath." You want to pack your bowls a little tiny bit at a time. You know, not like tiny hits, but you know, like enough where you know for sure that all right, I will inhale all this in one breath. If you know what I'm saying, it's gonna take some practice and some, you know, some tweaks here and there. So I would say take your time and don't like beat yourself down if you did let it roast the first like couple times or so. It just takes a lot of practice to get really like used to it, to taking that good sizable bong rip or pipe hit, whatever you're hitting on. Do not let it roast. It's the, you know, my biggest advice. I mean, all the other advices on this list is really good as well, but when you let it roast is when you're letting it go. So, I mean, yeah, that's the last one. I hope you guys really enjoy this type of content where I give you guys some of my experience, some of my knowledge on how to stretch out the herb a little bit. And if you guys have any more questions, just don't be afraid to leave it in the comments. And if I know the answer to it, I will make it in the video, and I'll try to talk more in deep details about it, and I'll try to actually do research about it too. So I'll see you guys in the next video, and I'll be here always. And have a good day, and always stay happy and positive. Even if you're going through darkness, stay strong. Peace out.